Hello, and welcome back to our Word Associate 2019 Practice Exam 1. Today we are continuing with Project 4, tasks 3, 4, and 5, and we're also going to complete Project 5. So you should be joining me when you click on Training Mode for the Word Associate 2019 Practice Exam 1. Should give you an option to resume the test that you started last time, and you'll be able to catch up with me there. Otherwise, if you have not started this test yet, you're going to need to start a new test. So the Word Associate 2019 Practice Exam 1 in Training Mode. Click Training Mode to resume. All right, hooray for me, mine is there. I saved it last time. I'm going to be able to click to resume test. Now, if you didn't save yours last time for some reason, or you can't find it, you're going to have to start a new test. So, resume test for those of you who are picking up where we left off, or start a new test for those of you who are joining me in the middle. When I click resume test, it should automatically open up to the last project and task that we were on, which is Project 4, Task 3. You may get some prompts at the top of your screen to load this information, but it should just load automatically. Be patient as the window opens. And notice, as this document opens, I've got a yellow flag message at the top. It's telling me that personal information removal is enabled. If you get this message, you need to click Change Setting. We don't want our personal information removal to be enabled because some tasks require us to remove some information and not others. So it's really important that if you see this, you click Change Setting. I have to do this every time this opens up. I haven't figured out a permanent solution, but for now we're clicking Change Setting. All right, so task 3. This task reads, on the bottom of the last page, create a table from the text resort name to the end of the document. Create the table with 5 columns with an automatic fixed column width separated by tabs. Apply the grid table 5 dark accent 1 table style. Now that's a lot of words. That's a long question. If you got this type of question on the test, it would be weighted the most heavily. Now, good thing for you, if you didn't have me, you do have this help button in training mode. If you click on the blue button, help, it will open up the directions directly below the question and give you step-by-step directions how to complete this task, just like with Jasper Active. All right, very first step for this one is to find the text resort name. So I'm going to scroll in my document, and it's on the bottom of the last page is what the directions tell me. And here I can see at the bottom of the last page, starting with the word resort name, and then I'm going to select to the end of the document. Now, I can see everything behind the scenes because I've got my show hide markings on, right? And that is right here on your home tab in your paragraph group, your show hide markings right here. If I were to click this again, you see how different the document looks when I turn them off and on. When I've got them on, I can see that all of this text right here is separated by tabs. Somebody hit tab in between these, and that's why this is called tab delimited text. That is an important phrase to know. Tab delimited text is just text that is separated by tabs, and it looks like this. And if you have your show hide on, it'll be a lot easier to figure out what is tab delimited. All right, next step, I'm going to select from the R in resort all the way down to the end of the document. All right, so after I turned on my show hide, I can see what behind the scenes. Then I'm going to select from resort name all the way down through the end of the document. Now I've selected my tab delimited text, and I'm going to create a table. So we're doing the opposite of what we did in our prior step where we took a table and made it into text. This time we're going to take text and make it into a table. Both really important things that you need to know how to do. All right, now that I've got my text selected, I am headed to the Insert tab because that's where we could insert a table. I'm going to click on the arrow for table, and instead of inserting a table, I'm going to convert text to table. Really important you know how to convert text to table. So click Convert Text to Table. That's going to bring up a box that's asking me for the options, and that's where I'll look at my directions to see what the directions say I need. It says to create the table with 5 columns. with an automatic fixed column width separated by tabs. So columns 5, it already assumed I wanted 5 columns by the document text that I selected, but if yours does not say 5, you're going to want to use these arrows to make that 5. It should have 15 rows. Fixed column width is already selected. That's what I should have, fixed column width. And then separate text at tabs. That's all in the directions. Clicking OK. And there I've got the table. And now you can see the difference between a table and text. All right, but that's not the end of this question. The last part of this question says to apply the Grid Table 5 Dark Accent 1 table style. Now you'll notice when I created my table, it automatically gave me my bonus blue tabs that I'm used to seeing when I'm working with a table or a graphic. Then I get these bonus blue tabs up here. I also can see my table selector. Important to know what your table selector is. It's this box with the plus sign in it. If you needed to select an entire table, you would click on that to select it. Then right here in the middle of my table design tab that automatically opened for me, Word assumed that I'd want to give it some design, so it opened up that table design tab. Right here in the middle, table styles. I'm going to click the more button for my table styles. And now I'm looking for Grid Table 5 Dark Accent 1 table style. Now I notice that this section here is grid tables, so I'm going to hover over the first one, Grid Table 1 Light, and I'm looking for Grid Table 5. So I'm going to go down and see what the next one is. Grid Table 2, that means I need to keep going, right? You're going to make an educated guess, right? A hypothesis about which one it is. You can't hover over all of them. You've got to try the ones you think it is. So Grid Table 5 Dark, but I'm looking for Accent 1. So I'm going to move my cursor to the right and hover. Grid Table 5 Dark, Accent 1, right there. Click on it to apply that Grid Table 1 or Grid Table 5 Dark Accent 1 style. It's right here. If you hover over it, it'll tell you. When you find it, click it and apply it. Mark completed. We're moving on to task 4. All right, task 4 in the sidebar on page 3. Change the bullets of the ski resort list to a solid square to match the other lists. So what is a sidebar? It is a bar on the side of your page. Sounds self-explanatory, but maybe you've never seen one like that before. Let's look at page 3. I'm going to scroll up just a little bit. There's my sidebar. So here on the side of the page, I have a line that goes all the way down, making this a sidebar. And I am looking at the bullets of the ski resorts list. So here's the ski resorts list. And in order to change the bullets, I have to first select the text that has the bullets. So we're going to select all of the bulleted list. Now, notice when I select the bulleted list, it doesn't select the bullets, but just the words that go along with it, right? That is normal. You're going to select the words that go with the bulleted list. So starting with the word Alta, and then moving all the way down through Sundance. Those should be selected. All right, then we're going to change these bullets. I'm going to go to my Home tab. Right here in the paragraph group, I've got my bullets button. I'm going to click that arrow, and you should have a square bullet right there in your library. Click that. Make it a solid square. Mark completed. And we're on to task 5. All right, we're going to resolve the comment on the last page. All right, first things first, we're going to go to the last page. Scroll down to the last page. I'm looking for the comment. There's my comment right there. If I click into the comment box, I've got a button that says resolve. If you're working with a newer version of Word, you might have the 3 dots. You're going to have to click the 3 dots and click resolve thread. But either way, either resolve or resolve thread, or even right click will give you resolve comment. And that's how you complete that task. Mark completed. All right. Now that we've finished the first 5 tasks, we're going to grade the project. I did not actually do task 1 and task 2 this time, so we'll see how that works out for me. But everybody can click grade project before we go on to the next grade project. I missed the first 2 because I didn't do them this time around. I actually started a new test that I resumed and hadn't done any of the ones. So You hopefully got all 5 green check marks, unless you just started with me today, and then this is what yours looks like too. Now, at this point, if I was working at home and trying to get to 70%, I could click retry and go back and retry task 1 and 2. But because we're working together in class today and we're going to go through the entire test before we go back and choose any ones to redo, we're going to click next and move on. So click next, and that's going to give us project 5. Should open up the document that says Society of Professional Journalists at the top. Okay, we are going to format the document into 2 columns, beginning with the heading 1.1 Seek Truth and Report It until the end of the document. And we're going to accept all defaults. Hope you remember the last time we talked about defaults. That just means it's standard, that whatever it comes with, those are the defaults, so we're not going to change anything. But the first step in formatting this document into 2 columns is to select what we're going to format into 2 columns. We're going to begin with the heading 1.1 Seek Truth and Report It, which is right here. So that means I'm leaving the top of this document the same, and I'm selecting from 1.1. Oh, look what happened when I tried to select it. It started to move this line is going to move it in. If I do this, drag and let go right now, it's not going to give me the desired effect I want. Let's use our super selector. In order to make sure we get the right information, don't click right before the 1. Let's use our super selector. Remember way back in the beginning of our MOS class, we learned about the super selector. Normally, our cursor looks like this. It looks like a capital I. If I move it to the left-hand side in my margin, I get this arrow, which makes it a super selector, means I can select the entire line all at once, right? And the reason I was having trouble when I was trying to select my 1 is because that is actually numbering. So I can't select the numbering. I can only select the words associated with it. So let's use our super selector. Click here before the 1.1, and then we're going to drag all the way down to the end of the document. So click and drag from here all the way down. All right, and now I need to make this 2 columns. So on my Layout tab, under Columns, I'm going to use my More Columns button. Yes, there is a button for 2 columns, but More Columns lets me change some settings, and that's an important thing to know how to do for columns. So if you click More Columns, it's going to ask you how many, just like it did before. We're going to say 2. But then further, if there were other instructions on the exam that I needed to complete, if I needed to put a line between things or I needed to change the spacing of the column width, I could do that here. So use More Columns whenever you're working with columns in your document. For this one, I just have to press 2, and then the rest of the question says accept all other defaults, which means I'm going to leave everything else exactly the same. Click OK. And now if I look at my document, it is in 2 columns. Columns hold up buildings, right? They go up and down. So now I've got 2 columns from the information that I just selected. All right, mark that completed. I'm on to task 2. All right, task 2 says change the endnote number format to 1, 2, 3. At the end of the subtitle, Improving and Protecting Journalism Since 1909, insert an endnote that reads http://www.spj.org/index.asp. All right. So this question is actually written backwards. First, it tells me to change the endnote number. And then it tells me to add the endnote. I can't change the endnote number until I've added it. So the very first thing I have to do for this step is add an endnote. And the endnote is going to read http, this address right here. So I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to select and then Control-C, copy. So you're just clicking to select this address, not the period at the end, just the address. Control-C to copy. All right. And then we're going to insert the endnote at the end of the subtitle, Improving and Protecting Journalism Since 1909. And that is at the top of the page, right underneath the title, Improving and Protecting Journalism Since 1909. I'm going to click right after that. You might have to click twice. Make sure your cursor is flashing at you right at the end of the 1909 number at the top of your page. All right, and then endnotes are something you would find in a research paper or a book. That's going to be in our references tab. So I'm headed up to my references tab here in the middle of my ribbon. And then I'm looking for my footnote group, which also includes endnote. So footnotes, endnotes, we're going to insert an endnote. So click that box. Now what that does is take you to the end of the document so that you can put the text you want with your endnote right there into the endnote. So here's where I'm going to paste the website address that I copied from my directions. Control V for victory because we're working smarter, not harder, right? Control V to paste. Now you might notice mine is in blue. That's okay. Don't worry about the formatting. That's just because of the way that I copied it. But Control V to paste. So now we've inserted our endnote, and the second part of this question asks us to change the endnote number format. And the way we're going to do that is by going up to our footnotes and endnotes and using our dialog box launcher. Right? Don't forget about your dialog box launchers. In our footnotes group on our references tab, use the footnote and endnote dialog box launcher. Now, really important for me to point out, not a part of this question, but something you definitely need to know how to do for your exam is how to convert endnotes to footnotes. Notice there is a button right here that says convert. If I were to have a question on the test that asks me to convert footnotes to endnotes or endnotes to footnotes, I'm just going to open up that dialog box launcher in the footnotes group, and I'm going to click convert, and it's going to be able to convert whichever I'd like. Not part of this task, but something you need to know how to do. All right, for this task, we're just going to change the number format. So looking down here where it says format, my number format, right now you'll notice it's in Roman numerals, I, and I want to make it 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to click that drop down, and the very first one here says 1, 2, 3 in numerals, right there, numerals, numbers. So 1, 2, 3 number format, click apply, and that should close the box. And now if I zoom into my document, you do not need to, but just so I can show you, it's got a 1 right by my endnote. All right, mark that completed, and we are on to task 3. All right, task 3 says on the second page, enhance the graphic by applying the colorful range accent colors 5 to 6. All right, so we're going to enhance the graphic, which means we're going to make it better. Might be a good way of saying that, or we're going to change it in a little way. Let me zoom back in. So I'm looking for the graphic SmartArt right here. Okay, and I have to click it. And I have to click it so that the entire thing is selected. So I've got circles around the entire thing, right? Not just that box. See, I've got circles around that box, but that I've got circles around the entire SmartArt graphic. Okay. And when I have the entire SmartArt graphic selected, I get my bonus blue tabs, right? We're used to seeing those bonus blue tabs up in the upper right-hand corner. SmartArt Design and Format. We're going to click on that SmartArt Design tab, and then just right underneath there is a button that says Change Colors. It looks like a painter's palette. You're going to click that arrow, and we're looking for colorful. So that tells me which group to look in. This is my colorful group right here, and then range accent colors 5 to 6. So the first one is accent colors. Next one's accent colors 2 to 3. So I'm going to check down here at the end to save some time. Accent colors 5 to 6, colorful range. All right, click on it, and that is how you complete that step. Mark it complete. On to task 4. I'm going to add a fourth shape to the diagram located at the end of the document, and then I'm going to add the text, be accountable and transparent. All right, so first thing, add a shape. You should still have your SmartArt design or your SmartArt selected, because we just used it to change our colors, but if it's not, click it again so that the circles are around the outside of it. And then right over here, I can see my Add Shape button. I'm going to click Add Shape. I had to click it twice. Sometimes you got to say hi before you tell it what to do, right? Don't forget about that. So you might have to click it twice, but click once and then add your shape. Now, if you wanted to, you could just type "be accountable and transparent" on the new shape. Copying and pasting is not going to work because it pastes a new shape, and we already have our new shape. We don't want another new shape. We just want the information. So you can't copy and paste onto the shape, but you can copy and paste on the text pane. So here, looking at my SmartArt Design tab, I've got a text pane. We use that in Jasper Active. Click on that text pane, and I can copy and paste the words right here. So I'm going to go down into my directions where it says "be accountable and transparent." I'm going to select "be accountable and transparent." I'm going to copy it, Control C, click in my text box, and Control V paste. That's how we complete this step. So again, first thing, we clicked Add Shape. We got our new shape. Then we opened our text pane. And then in the text pane, we copied and pasted the information from our instructions, "be accountable and transparent." Paste it right there. Click the X. And that's how you complete that step. Now, something also to note that isn't covered in this practice exam, but it's important to know, if these graphic boxes were numbered and we wanted to change the numbering, we would click on this right to left button. The right to left button will switch the layout. If I do it right now, it changes what comes first. And if it were numbered, it would change those numbers as well. So important to know. Not something you have to do for this task, but important to know how to change the SmartArt graphic around by clicking right to left. All right, let's mark that completed, and we are on to task 5. We are going to move the SmartArt from the second page to the first page and place it between the heading and 1 Code of Ethics. Okay? Sometimes it's easy to pick something up and move it. I have learned that it is not easy to pick up this SmartArt design and move it. So we're going to try a different way of moving. Select the entire SmartArt graphic. Select it so it's got the circles around it, and we're actually going to cut it. So right here on my home tab, I've got scissors. If I hover over them, it tells me what they are. It also tells me the shortcut. Control X is a shortcut for cut. I'm going to click those scissors or Control X to cut. And then I'm going to go to the top of the first page. And I'm going to paste this between the heading and 1 Code of Ethics. So, Society of Professional Journalists, Improving and Protecting Journalism Since 1909 is my heading. I'm going to click in the blank paragraph right below that, which is easy to see because I've got my show hide on. And then I'm going to paste. Control V, paste, or right-click paste, or click the clipboard to paste, and move that graphic to the top of the first page. Mark completed. And we have just completed the necessary steps for today's lesson. At this point, we're going to grade the project because we've done all 5 tasks and see how we did. All right, grade project. Give it a second. I got 5 check marks. Hooray! Hopefully you did too. If not, you could at some point in time go back and retry some of these. But for today's purposes, we're going to keep going on to the next. All right, that's going to load project 6. We're going to stop here for today. So from this point, I'm going to click on my summary, and it is extremely important that you save this test so you can find it next time. Some of you may have figured that out if you've lost your test along the way. Click on summary, and we've got some options here. Save test is one of them. Do not finish the test. Once you finish the test, you cannot go back. If you save the test, you can go back and complete any one. Otherwise, you cannot. So make sure you click Save Test. You're going to save it to the cloud. Be patient while it saves to the cloud, and you will be ready to resume when we finish this practice exam in our next class. Looks like I will not be able to stop the video until it saves to the cloud. There we go. All right, until next time.